Speaking of pitching, did you see the Edwin Diaz thing?
I did not look into details. I did see that he got ejected for a sticky stuff check, but that's literally all I know. That's all I saw was the headline.
Yeah, so they check apparently they check closers before their outing, whereas most relievers get checked after the inning, like when they're on the way back to the dugout, and they check the closers because they may not get a chance to check them after the outing.
Right.
Um, and apparently he came into the game had his right hand was really sticky, and like there was a picture floating around where it looked pretty discolored and doesn't look good. Um,
No,
he says it
definitely
was
doesn't look
just
good.
he says it was just rosin and sweat, which I mean it might be, it might not, I don't know. What I wanted to talk about is just the automatic 10-game suspension. I think we've talked about this before, but it's just so nonsensical to me that it's an automatic 10-game suspension just because an umpire thinks that it's too sticky. Like that's not their job. Like the way I would handle these things is if a guy's too sticky, eject him, send whatever it is, the if it's on the glove, if it's on the hand, get a sample of it immediately. As soon as he goes in the dugout, he gets met by a MLB official to take a sample of his glove or his hand or his arm or his neck or his ear or whatever the hell is the issue. Take a sample of it, send it to a lab, figure out what the hell's in it. If it's just rosin and sweat and dirt, then no suspension. If it's spider tack or it's got too much sunscreen or whatever else it is that is in there, 10-game suspension. This shouldn't be that hard.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you there. I feel like the umpires have a lot more power than they might need, especially when it comes to guys losing games, especially someone as important as Edwin Diaz is to the Mets. It is kind of tough, and I don't even really know how. So, like for a reliever like that, like especially your closer, is it just basically like the next 10 games,
Yeah, it's still the
and
next
then
10 games. It's
and
still the
then
next.
for like a starter,
It's
is
still
it your next 10 starts?
no, just 10 games, 10-team games.
Okay.
So like,
Okay.
yeah, and they can't replace him on the roster. They just have to play with 25 instead of 26 for the next 10 games.
Gotcha. I mean, as a closer, it's even more of a loss, obviously, because if the starters are just getting the next 10 games, at most they're only missing 2 starts.
Yeah,
But as a closer, you could be missing him for all 10 of those games, depending on how the game goes. And so, for something like that, just based off a judgment call, I do think that is pretty extreme. I do think that there should be a way for them to be able to test it and figure out exactly what it is. And it just seems like they don't want to have to go through that process. And with how important these games are, because it's a marathon, every game matters, but it is a marathon. But sometimes it does come down to one game at the end of the season. And so I would much prefer that there was a better system in place for them to be able to check that and make sure before they straight up just suspend for 10 games. But
yeah, because like the whole thing of it is like rosin and sweat can make your hand very sticky, very
it's
sticky.
true.
Like I don't, remember, I
I
don't.
mean, that's the whole point of rosin.
Right. I don't know if you remember when I think it was in a Sunday night baseball game or something. Pedro Martinez did like his little sweat and rosin concoction, and then he picked up a baseball. He's got his two fingers on top of the baseball. He takes his thumb
Hmm.
away and flattens out his hand, and the baseball is stuck to his fingers, and it's
Hmm.
not dropping immediately. That's how
Immediately, it did end up
it did end
dropping,
up
yes,
dropping, but
but
not immediately.
right,
Like it sticks. That's
it
how that's
does.
how and they are allowed to use rosin and sweat mixture in order to get grip on the baseball. How is an
Yep.
umpire supposed to tell the difference between that and somebody mixing in sunscreen or what? I don't remember what all the spider tag had in it, but like, how are they supposed to tell the difference between those two? They're not. That's not their job. They're not scientists.
Right. Unless we start having one umpire at each game that is their specialty and they are trained on how to but like now we're getting into the weeds there, so it's just
Yeah. Like, and there's somebody had an idea. I don't remember who it was I saw, but we have like spin rates on these guys like pretty much immediately once they come into a game. So like
mhm,
there was somebody that had an idea of like, hey, just have somebody at each game watching the spin rates of all these guys. And they have a list of all the pitchers, like this is what their average spin rate is. And if it's like over a certain amount, say 300, like a guy's fastball is normally 2,500 RPMs, and he comes out and he's throwing 3,000 RPMs, then it's like, hey,
something's off.
something's happening here. Like we should go check this guy
Right.
because something's happening. And if there's no noticeable difference in his stuff, then play on.
Yeah, there's got to be a way. Just smacking a 10-game suspension immediately seems extreme. I agree.
Yeah, I can't believe the players union allowed this to be the rule.
You got to pick your battles, and I guess they didn't see this being that big of a deal until it actually started happening.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you can't just be losing guys for 10 days for potentially, we don't know, potentially using stuff that is perfectly legal.
Exactly.
Like is it legal? Is it not legal? Figure it out. If it's legal, then let them use it. If it's not legal, then take it off the fucking mound because it's literally on the mound.
Yeah.
It's there for them to use.
Yeah, not only that, but like majority of batters, like way up, probably like 80%, are going to prefer the pitcher have a better grip on the ball
Yes.
so that they don't just lose it and hit you.
Yeah, so they don't. Who was it that got hit in the face the other day? Somebody got hit in the face
Ooh,
with
I
like a
don't know
hundred
about the
mile an
other
hour
day.
fastball.
Oh, I did see the notification for that, but I don't remember who it
Like it was
was.
Jared Jones that was pitching, I'm pretty sure, but I don't remember who the batter was that he hit. I meant to write that down, but I forgot. But yeah, somebody got hit with a 100 mile an hour fastball in the face. It was like, I wish that pitcher was using a little bit more rosin.
Yeah,
And he was okay. Like
definitely.
he's fine, as good as you can be, taking a 100 mile an hour fastball to the face.
Right. Oof. Scary.
Yeah, that's you talk about wetting yourself. I'm getting sticky for another
While we're
reason.
still oh goodness. While we're on the